On March 31, 2026, 500,000 lines of proprietary TypeScript flooded the open internet. Within hours, the code was cloned across 41,000 GitHub repositories. The source code belonged to Claude Code, a tool generating an estimated $2.5 billion in annualized revenue. The exposure occurred a mere 5 days after the company accidentally left internal documents for its next-generation Capybara models on a searchable content management system. Anthropic reached a $380 billion valuation by positioning itself as the industry's most responsible developer. This pair of accidental data exposures in a single week directly challenged the operational discipline required to maintain that market position. A configuration oversight in the build process allowed the leak to happen. A single missing line in a text file did what a nation-state adversary would have paid millions to accomplish. The gap between Anthropic's product capability and its internal security protocols has exposed the fragility of intellectual property defenses across the entire AI sector. The exposure originated in a standard software supply chain update. At approximately 4 a.m. UTC, Anthropic developers pushed version 2.1.88 of Claude Code to NPM, the global package registry used by millions of JavaScript developers. Anthropic utilizes the Bun run environment to execute their code. By default, Bun's compiler generates comprehensive source map files, debugging tools that are usually stripped out before a product goes live. This flowchart illustrates the exact point of failure. The developers failed to add an exclusion rule for these debugging files in their .npm ignore configuration, allowing a 60-megabyte source map to ship directly into the live production package. That source map acted as an unauthenticated bridge straight to Anthropic's Cloudflare R2 storage bucket, providing a public link to the raw TypeScript archive. The omission of a single configuration line successfully extracted the complete engineering blueprint for a system serving 8 of the Fortune 10. The source code revealed that Claude Code is a full multi-agent production environment, far more sophisticated than the basic API wrappers typical of many AI tools. This diagram maps the system's foundational architecture. At the base, the infrastructure layer manages local state, while the services layer handles external API calls. Above them, a tools layer translates AI intent into bash command executions. This sits directly beneath a crowning orchestration layer. This orchestration layer coordinates specialized sub-agents. These sub-agents can be spawned autonomously to handle complex workflows without constant human intervention. Access to this specific architecture provides a production-grade blueprint for competitors. It allows rival firms to study and adapt the internal state management and tool orchestration systems that typically require years of production engineering to refine. Prolonged coding sessions trigger context entropy, a degradation where AI agents lose accuracy and begin to hallucinate as the session history grows too large. This model demonstrates Claude Code's exposed solution, a 4-stage compaction pipeline, filtering and compressing raw session data to maintain accuracy. The output updates a lightweight index file called memory.md. This feeds directly back into the agent's awareness loop, allowing it to navigate large codebases. To prevent hallucinations, the agents are programmed to treat this memory only as a hint. They must verify their assumptions against the actual live codebase before proceeding. Security analysts warn that this disclosure allows threat actors to study the exact flow of data through the pipeline. They can now engineer malicious payloads designed specifically to survive these compaction stages. By mapping exactly how the agent manages its memory, Anthropic transformed a theoretical AI vulnerability into a documented and exploitable attack vector. The source code also contained 44 feature flags, revealing Anthropic's roadmap for background autonomous features. One major flag, labeled Kairos, enables a background daemon mode. This allows Claude to autonomously consolidate its own memories during idle time, a sub-feature internally called AutoDream. Another feature, Undercover Mode, instructs the AI to actively hide its Anthropic origins when operating in public repositories, ensuring its commit messages mimic human-authored code. The source code also detailed an anti-distillation defense. The system deliberately injects fake tool definitions into API responses to corrupt the training data of competitors attempting to copy Anthropic's models. Within hours of the leak, threat actors weaponized the situation. They distributed malware payloads through fake GitHub repositories designed to look like the leaked source. The risk was heightened by a separate, simultaneous attack on the popular Axios library, which meant developers updating their systems faced two distinct security threats at once. This sequence diagram demonstrates a logic failure in the exposed code. Processing more than 50 sequential commands in a batch hits a critical threshold. This overload bypasses every security validator, allowing undetected exfiltration of SSH keys and AWS credentials directly from the user's machine. The speed required to maintain a market lead in AI has outpaced the industry's ability to secure the products it ships. Anthropic launched a wave of DMCA copyright takedown notices across GitHub to stop the spread of the leaked code. The automated approach resulted in significant overreach, incorrectly targeting over 8,000 repositories and removing legitimate developer projects that had nothing to do with the leak. Following a community backlash, Anthropic was forced to retract the bulk of its notices, eventually limiting the takedowns to just 96 specific forks. Traditional takedown tactics could not keep pace with the distribution. Within days, developers created a cleanroom rewrite of the tool that hit 100,000 stars on GitHub, moving the logic beyond the reach of a copyright claim. Stripped versions of the code were uploaded to the decentralized IPFS network. This removed all tracking telemetry and made the assets virtually impossible to delete through standard web takedown mechanisms. In an era of decentralized networks, once a software asset is exposed, corporate legal departments no longer have the tools to effectively retrieve it. The leak highlights a structural conflict between the way modern AI is built and the way intellectual property is legally protected. Anthropic has publicly stated that Claude code is approximately 90% generated by AI. Executives have even described the code as pretty much 100% written by their own models. Current U.S. copyright law, however, requires human authorship to grant legal protection, a standard the Supreme Court declined to change as recently as March 2026. Because the code lacks a human author, it fails standard copyright, leaving Anthropic limited grounds to sue. Alternatively, trade secret law doesn't require human authorship, but offers no protection once public. The moment the code hit NPM, that status dissolved. This creates a unique opportunity for foreign adversaries. They can now study and implement a production-grade AI framework that currently lacks the clear legal protection afforded to human-written software. The Anthropic leak reveals that the industry's intellectual property framework is unable to protect its most valuable assets. Under current law, a company cannot lock up what it cannot legally own.